To that developing story in the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan hit with a crushing defeat in the Commons. She's facing a no-confidence vote. Ashley Webster in London with the latest. Ashley.
Oh, boy, the Brexit drama goes on, Liz. What a crushing, humiliating defeat it was for the British Prime Minister. The final vote, 202 yes votes, 432 no. A crushing margin of 230 votes. Now, this is the worst Parliament defeat for a government since the First World War. After that result, there was perhaps speculation that Theresa May resign. No way. She remained defiant and told the House of Commons something has to be done to honour the people of Britain. Take a listen.
The House has spoken and the government will listen. It is clear that the House does not support this deal, but tonight's vote tells us nothing about what it does support. Nothing about how or even if it intends to honour the decision the British people took in a referendum Parliament decided to hold.
Well, listen, the opposition party leader, Jeremy Corbyn, immediately filing a motion of no confidence. That will be debated tomorrow in Parliament, Liz. The Prime Minister is expected to survive that, but she still has just 3 days to come back here with a plan B. The future of Brexit very much still up in the air. Back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. Let's take it right to former UK House of Lords member, Lord Conrad Black. We welcome you to the show.
Thank you. I'm still a member of the House of Lords.
Oh, thank you so much. What happens now?
She'll win the confidence vote. The Parliament will not go for an election. She will be confirmed in her position, and she's unassailable within the Conservative Party because under the constitution of that party, having passed a confidence vote within the Conservative Party, they can't question her again for a considerable time. So she's safe enough, I think. But basically, you have three options. Either you fold the whole thing up and abandon Brexit. That's impossible. They have a vote to go ahead, and they would never get a vote to return it, to turn it over. Two, you crash out, as the British say. You just leave without an agreement and go back to where Britain was before it joined the common market. And three, you try and narrow the gap with Brussels on the one side and with the opponents of the existing proposal that went down today on the other. And it seems to me that Brussels will make some concessions, and it seems to me that she can narrow the gap within the House of Commons somewhat. But there are two basic problems here. One is there is no majority support for any of the options. So if you can't get a majority support either in the country or in Parliament for any option, essentially you're just carried along by events, and the events will lead them out of Europe without an agreement at
Lord
the
Black,
end of March.
This seems like a crisis of leadership in the UK, a crisis of leadership, of course, we see with what's going on with the Democrats in Congress here. Nigel Farage is saying this is a complete betrayal by the political class in the UK, who's just not doing what the voters in England want. You know, people look across the channel and they see chaos in the EU, they see chaos in France and Italy, and, you know, the people who wanted Brexit are saying, we want to govern ourselves, make our own laws, and basically stand up for our own borders. What is your reaction to that?
I almost always agree with Nigel. He's a good friend of mine, and he's been right from the start on this. I think Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg inside the Conservative Party put it in a way that is more apt to gain wider adherence within Parliament. But I wouldn't go so far as Nigel did to say it's a complete betrayal, but there certainly is a terrible lack of moral leadership, not from the Prime Minister, who is doing her best, but from a great many of these MPs who are just hiding behind the tactic of not agreeing with anything that comes up. But they're on a conveyor belt to a decision, whether they agree with it or not. I agree with you in your comments about Europe. The major powers are faltering, and Brussels itself is an utterly incompetent institution. They are not answerable to anyone, not to the major constituencies constituent member governments, and certainly not to that ludicrous talking shop of a parliament in Strasbourg. So there's little wonder that all of the major countries are exasperated with Brussels. I think Britain has voted to leave, and it will leave.
And if it leaves, the EU could fall apart potentially because other countries could say they could leave.
Liz, it would be like Texas and California and Arizona and New Mexico seceding from the United States. It's a terrible loss. Britain's next to Germany, the greatest power in Europe, and it would be a terrible defeat for the whole idea of the European Union.
What would you tell, let's come back stateside, what would you advise President Trump to do now?
Well, I actually published a piece in the American Greatness site today, and I suggested a four-pronged attack. I think he should make an offer to give 60% of the normal compensation the federal employees not now being paid would get. You give them that just so they can pay their basic bills. Two, declare a national emergency and start work on building up border security, and ignore the lower courts, and don't allow the Democrats to get away with this nonsense of judge shopping and then saying that a federal district judge can tell the president what he can do and what the Constitution clearly reserves to him as the president's authority. And three, use the Army. Just bring in a couple of brigades, 10,000 men, and just stop these crossings and stop paying excessive attention to the rules of engagement of immigration agents as opposed to members of the military. The president's the commander-in-chief. He can get the Army to do any reasonable thing that he deems necessary.
Tadas there.
But you've got to attack on all fronts.
I hear what you're saying. Lord Black, you're saying the president, he's not going to get a deal with the Democrats right now, that he should just go ahead and do it, because the polls show that the polls are now rebuking the Democrats. Most voters say, yes, it is a crisis. And it's not a manufactured crisis. There's a security crisis. That's according to Quinnipiac, sir. Lord Conrad Black, what do you say to that the president should just grab the leadership, go ahead and do it?
I think the whole thing is ripened, and that's precisely what he should do. And there's plenty of precedent for it. That's what presidents are paid to do, to act decisively when absolutely important matters cannot be settled by anyone else and by any other way. And you can legislate after the fact, but in the meantime, you have to stop this invasion of unskilled people, and you have to stop all of the subsidiary problems. You can't have the greatest cities in the country telling their police forces they can't enforce federal immigration laws. And you can't have them telling census takers set up by the Constitution itself that they can't ask people citizenship. This whole thing is insane. 20 years from now, historians will say, how did this ever happen with 22 million people in the country illegally?
Lord Conrad Black, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, sir. Come back soon.